The Jomon period is the key to understanding the world's ancient civilizations. The clay figures with the sunshades aren't aliens. Chapter 10. The National Treasure Clay Figure That Almost Walks.
There is a lot you can get from the hollow clay figure of Hakodate. Plus, I really learned a lot about the ecology of snakes being key to understanding the Jomon people.
You've grown too, Tabby, just like a snake grows and sheds its skin.
Today I have another question about the hollow clay figure. There was an expert who worked for a long time at the facility where the Hakodate hollow clay figure was kept, who said that the hollow clay figure's right and left legs were different lengths. He said that one of the legs was lifted up to show that it was about to walk.
This is really quite a mystery. The most senior investigative officer for the Agency of Cultural Affairs, who designated the hollow clay figure as a national treasure, said that not only the Hakodate hollow clay figure, but also the clay figures which are national treasures found in Nagano and Yamagata have right and left legs with different lengths. He insisted that it must mean something. The expert that you were talking about, Tabby, may have been inspired by the assertion of this researcher, who is Japan's main person in charge of the matter, to say that the hollow clay figure is lifting its foot and is about to walk.
So where on earth is the clay figure going?
It's not going anywhere. The reason the right and left legs are different is that after the clay figure had been fired and finished, the result was that the right and left legs became a different length. So the person who made it was not attempting to have the clay figure look as though it were about to walk.
And there are many clay figures who don't even have any legs, right?
The cross-shaped clay figures and the tubular clay figures have their feet omitted. If you think about the intention behind making the clay figures, it wasn't important whether or not they had legs, so there was no meaning behind having legs of slightly different lengths. What is important is that the clay figure is a woman wishing for pregnancy, and that it represents the spirit of the ancestor descending from heaven.
Well, I was about to believe whatever the experts say just because of their status. I was hoping that just as the clay figures were going forward, that the research about the clay figures would advance forward as well.
More than a step forward, it seems to be 3 steps backwards.
So I guess that the important thing about the clay figure is the fact that there are 2 holes in its head, just as you say.
There is more. When you look at the chin of the clay figure, don't you notice something?
There are a lot of little round dots on it. It looks like there's a beard growing on the chin. But since it's a woman, isn't that strange?
Of course, it's not a beard. The dots represent the clay figure exhaling the breath of life. There are other similar patterns.
Yes, there are dots around the navel, too. So do they represent the breath of life as well?
Yes, they do. After the seed of life enters the clay figure's head through the 2 holes, it becomes breath and is exhaled from the mouth and goes down toward the navel. That's what the dots around the navel represent. Again, another famous professor said that the line on the stomach or the midline was the scar of having taken out the fetus. But this is the path of the breath of life. From there, the breath of life goes from the navel to the womb. According to the Jomon people, this is to fulfill the wish to receive a child for which the clay figure has been made.
This is the story of the rebirth of the ancestral spirits of the Jomon people. Who would have thought that there would be so much information embedded into the hollow clay figure? But why is it that the seed of life, entering into the female clay figure as 2 snakes, change into the breath to get exhaled from the mouth?
That is a good question. Next time we'll talk about the breath of life.